What if to truly create something new, you had to tear down reality itself? Well, today, we're diving into exactly that, a symbolic journey of destruction and rebirth through the eyes of the Mad Rune King and his architecture of chaos.
So this quote right here, it really kicks things off. It sets the entire stage. We're stepping into a world where the old, heroic ideals aren't inspiring anymore. They've become a prison, a stagnant cage built for what Nietzsche called the last man, the person who's just too comfortable, too afraid to face any kind of real ending. And that's the conflict that's about to spark a revolution of the soul.
So this all starts in a world that's already falling apart. Our first section, A Cage of Stagnant Ideals, is all about that light bulb moment, that realization when the old god Wotan finally looks around and sees that the entire system is fundamentally, irreversibly broken.
So what does this failing world actually look like through his eyes? Well, you've got these gilded chains of honor and destiny, and they're literally just dissolving. That heroic ideal that was once a source of strength, it's now the bars of that stagnant cage. The moral North Stars that everyone used to navigate by, they now lead absolutely nowhere. He realizes that to survive, the only way forward is to just liquidate the entire psychological infrastructure of the past, burn it all down.
And this is absolutely crucial. This isn't just him panicking and flying into ruin. It's not nihilism for the sake of it. No, his choice to embrace chaos is a calculated, strategic move. It's all about intentionally clearing the ground so that something totally new can be built from the wreckage.
This strategic demolition job leads him right into the second stage of his transformation, the alphabet of the void. This is where things get really intense, because he starts to physically and metaphysically rewrite his own soul using something called the Mad Runes.
And the distinction here is fascinating. You see, traditional runes, they were tools of order. They were meant to stabilize a kind of consensual reality, one that was stable but ultimately false and static. The Mad Runes, though, they're the exact opposite. They aren't tools to bring order. They are fractured pieces of an absolute, vibrating truth. They are, quite literally, an alphabet written in the language of the void.
So by carving these new runes into his own flesh, Wooden is basically performing a linguistic corruption on his own being. He's hacking his own source code. He replaces his internal rational logic with this new force called Der Wille. And if that sounds a bit like Nietzsche's will to power, you're on the right track. It's this humming, dynamic energy that lets him operate outside the normal laws of the world, kind of like a metaphysical virus.
And let's be clear, this is not a clean process. It's absolutely brutal. This soul rewrite has a real, visceral cost. As he carves this new code into his own skin, his old humanity, all his pity, all his fear, it just hemorrhages out of him and soaks into the dirt. It's a total, violent purge of the man he used to be.
Okay, so he's completely rewired himself from the inside out. Now what? Well, that's where Section 3 comes in, harnessing the divine lightning. All that internal change now allows him to become a conductor for a massive external power, for chaos magic itself. This transformation happens in this really cool sequence, and it has to start with the shattering of his psyche. The mind has to break first. But see, that brokenness isn't a weakness. It's actually what allows him to become a high-tension conductor, someone who can anchor the immense, raw power of external magic.
But his goal isn't just to use this power like a tool or a weapon. No, he wants to actually inhabit the storm itself.
To not just wield the chaos, but to completely merge with it, to become its very core.
And it all culminates in this incredible image. He becomes the lightning that strikes the tower. And this isn't just random destruction, it's a very targeted strike, incinerating the rational, machine-like illusions of the Enlightenment. And it's all fueled by the friction between that orderly industrial world and the wild, untamed void that he now is.
You gotta wonder, right? How does someone even maintain such an extreme state of being without just burning out? Well, that brings us to our fourth section, the furnace of becoming. This is all about the perpetual state of intensity he needs to wield this kind of power. And the answer is a concept called mad vitality. Think of it as this permanent, ecstatic state of high tension. It's a constant, violent affirmation of life, and it's presented as the only real antidote to the cold, apathetic stagnation of the modern world. To keep that state going, he has to commit to this relentless cycle of self-sacrifice. He has to exist as an infinite furnace, burning with the heat of 1,000 dying stars. And how does he fuel it?
He has to perpetually sacrifice his old selves, the past versions of who he was, as fuel for the new God King, the Overman, that he is constantly becoming.
And the principle driving all of this is simple and absolute. Stagnation is death, period. Only through this constant, violent process of becoming can he gain real authority and master what the text calls the cosmic joke.
And all this intense internal work, well, it starts to bleed out and reshape the world around him. Which brings us to our final section, Master of the Cosmic Joke, where Wotan becomes the sovereign of reality that he has personally and completely rewritten.
And this is where you see this incredible split in perception. To the uninitiated, to us, the world looks like it's undergoing this terrifying, uncanny collapse of order. But to the Mad King, this chaos is the shimmering, vital truth of reality. The world is no longer just a static stage for his actions. It's become a shifting mirror that reflects his own internal will.
So, what does this ultimate mastery mean? It means the final cage is broken. Those white judges, the external forces of morality, law, consensual reality, they're defeated. He is finally and absolutely free.
But here's the twist. This triumph is also a tragic one. His crown isn't made of hollow gold. It's made of flickering lightning. His victory is a state of horrific, profound isolation, because he's the only one who can actually see the new reality he's written in his own blood. He's beyond law, beyond morality, completely sovereign, and completely alone.
So this entire journey, this whole architecture of chaos, it really leaves us with one profound question to chew on. After watching a god break out of a cage to become the master of his own reality, you just have to ask, is truth something we find out there, or is it something that is willed, violently, into existence?